Monsterplexx by Innovative Labs. This is the ultimate anabolic powerhouse. At least that's what it says in the bottle. But what it really is 5 prohormones in one. This is as balanced as it gets in terms of prohormone products, my dudes. It's got 3 bulkers, 2 cutters, and a supporting ingredient that prevents hair loss. 15, 20, even 25 pounds in just 4 to 8 weeks. That's pretty safe to say that we've been sleeping on this one. But can it compete with the fast-acting massive gains of a Superdrol? Or the hard, lean gains of a Helidrol? My name's Travis Dillard. People around here call me the Prohormone Professor. And I'm here today because have you ever tried to have a conversation with someone about prohormones? It doesn't go too well. Unashamedly bridging the gap between bro science and the real science. That's why I'm here. And that's why today we're talking all things Monsterplexx. The benefits, the side effects, the optimal cycle length, the best dosing, the best time to use it. The stack at the end that's going to incorporate all 3 major growth pathways so that you can get the most out of Monsterplexx. And guys, I found a study, I dug deep, and it's quite shocking. All right, let's get it.
You are now in the presence of a...
What is the Prohormone Monsterplexx? Monsterplexx was released on March 5th of 2016 to provide bodybuilders and athletes as a way to stack on slabs of muscle without having to mess with their HPTA axis, or their testosterone, estrogen, or DHT, and without having to inject, which we love. And the funny thing is that Innovative Labs, that is the brand that sells this, in 2015 was actually purchased by high-tech pharmaceuticals, 100% of it. So we can only assume that any company we're talking about these days, especially these prohormone companies, probably just any generic supplement company, is somehow tied to high-tech pharmaceuticals because they have their hand in pretty much everything. And this doesn't contain 1, 2, 3, or even 4, but 5 prohormones. Here's what we're looking at. A 250 milligram proprietary blend. No, but it is interesting. And we are going to cover this 1-andro here in a second. We're going to skip over it for now. So we're going to start with 5-androstan 3B decanate, or epiandro. Standalone, this is going to be meant for cutting. Converts into DHT in the body. And with a decanate ester, it's got a half-life of 10 to 16 hours. And then we have 2 wet ones to then even that out. 4-androstan 3B undecanate, which is a 4-andro, and 3B hydroxy androst 5 undecanate. Though this doesn't look like one, it is actually a 4-andro. Standalone is going to be best for bulking, both of those. And they both convert into testosterone in the body. And with an undecanate ester, exactly like andriol, these 2 4-andros have a half-life of 4 to 7 hours. Then we've got 2 different 1-andros. We have 1-androstan 3B decanate, or a 1-andro with a decanate ester. It's a long ester, which can provide a longer release. And then we have the infamous problem child, 3-beta-hydroxy 5A androst, which 3-beta-hydroxy, if you're new here, this isn't going to look familiar at all, but if you've been following along, this looks like epiandro on paper. It's not. It's actually a 1-andro. But structurally, it's different from the 1-andros we're used to seeing. For instance, in the high-tech pharmaceuticals, 1-testosterone. This 1-andro is less resistant to the conversion into estrogen or dihydrotestosterone, also known as DHT, which means it might aromatize a little bit more, resulting in a little bit more water retention and potentially some estrogen-related side effects. But both 1-andros and Monsterplexx are still going to be considered dry, despite how weird that 1-andro is, the 3-beta-hydroxy one. They're both going to be meant for cutting, and they both convert into 1-testosterone in the body. The first 1-andro has a decanate ester, which has a half-life of 12 hours. And the second, the weird one, the 3-beta-hydroxy 1-andro, without an ester, has a half-life of 5 hours. And then we have the non-hormonal supporting ingredients, starting with Ajuca turkestanica, aka turkesterone, which I have in fact verified. This has been sourced from Uzbekistan, which is where Ajuca turkestanica comes from, is where it should come from, not China. So we're not going to be in a Greg type situation, thank goodness. I actually just completed a video on Greg's Turk Builder. Thank gosh somebody did it. It's about time we got informed on this. I am so sick of people getting ripped off. I think we all are, really. It's about time this industry gets some accountability. But what I found is that Ajuca turkestanica, or turkesterone, which I refer to as an acetosteroid. No, that's not even a word. It's an ectosteroid. I think I said it like 15 times wrong in the last video. It's an ectosteroid, or a non-hormonal plant steroid. And while there are some studies, one in particular that stands out with a p-value of less than 0.01 for my nerds, that means it's correlated, that means it's statistically significant, that says that there are potentially some muscle building abilities. However, this one can't be replicated. So we have to rely on the anecdotal evidence, which is just coming from the massive amount of testimonials online, all praising its muscle building abilities. Then we have the supporting ingredient diosterol, a natural test booster, which is a phytosterol, or a non-hormonal plant steroid, chemically similar to cholesterol, which could potentially affect your hormones. at least indirectly. The problem is that there's zero studies on this. Not mechanistic studies, not studies about how it might increase testosterone, not studies on muscle building. There's nothing. However, it's probably one of my favorite supporting ingredients we've seen in any prohormone product because it eliminates our biggest side effect. More on that in a minute. And the last main non-hormonal supporting ingredient is laxoginin, our favorite non-hormonal plant steroid, baby, which by itself isn't going to do a whole lot, and there's very little evidence on it. However, mechanistically, there is a running theory, and the top one is that it might operate in the mTOR pathway, thus increasing protein synthesis and giving us more muscle. At the very least, all we can say really right now is that this might be a good supporting ingredient. Now, altogether in the body, the Monsterplexx pill makes its way down the digestive tract, into the stomach, into the bloodstream, to the liver, where the first conversion of all 5 prohormones take place. The 2 1-andros convert into 1-androstenedione. The 2 4-andros convert into 4-androstenedione. And the 1 single epiandro ingredient just has 1 conversion to dihydrotestosterone, or DHT. All 5 precursors then make their way to the androgen receptor within the muscle tissue for its second conversion, where it's going to turn the 1-androstenedione into 1-testosterone, the 4-androstenedione into testosterone, and the dihydrotestosterone, or DHT, well, into nothing. Because it's already made its first conversion. It's already DHT. It doesn't require another conversion. The DHT is ready to bind. Now, in terms of the anabolic ratios, I know that this can get very complicated very quickly, so let's go ahead and break this down in a very simple manner for you. On the left side, you've got the anabolic side, or the likelihood it is to build muscle when compared to testosterone. On the right side, you have the masculinizing of the features side, which is hair growth, hardened jawline, deeper voice. And with Monsterplexx specifically, it's 5 prohormones. Well, its 2 1-andros have a 200 to 100, meaning that it's 2 times more likely to build muscle when compared to testosterone. The 4-andros, which convert into testosterone, meaning that it should be the exact same, and in fact is 100 to 100 anabolic to androgenic ratio. An epiandro, which has a 300 to 100 anabolic to androgenic ratio, meaning that it's 3 times more likely to build muscle when compared to testosterone. Obviously, this blend is going to be very powerful. So let's talk about why that is, as we talk about the benefits of Monsterplexx. But first, my dudes, seriously cool announcement to make right now. This is the 45th Prohormone breakdown video we've done. This journey, this ride has been nothing short of humbling, challenging. It's been so friggin' wild. And to wake up to 100 loving messages every single day. When I say 100, I'm not even kidding you. My wife is like, what is going on? You guys are changing me as a human. You are supporting me in ways that, quite frankly, I've got a great friend group and a great support system, but this is a whole new level, and I really wish every human could experience this. My dude, if you want to join us, we'd love to have you. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you don't, well, that's okay too, because we're going to make it to the top regardless. All right, back to it. Now, in terms of the benefits, there are quite a few here. And rather than just listing them just in order and just rolling right through them, I'm instead going to tie them to each prohormone. That way you can walk away a little smarter. This guy thought he was taking a test booster and then realized it wasn't after gaining about 20 pounds or so. So yeah, you can expect an increase in muscle mass. This just comes with an increase in protein synthesis from the 1-andro and the promotion of hypertrophy, or the increase in muscle cell size, from the 4-andro. This is the real deal. Monsterplexx is a very powerful compound that we do not want to underestimate, because its 1-andro and 4-andro are going to increase testosterone, thus promoting the activation of additional muscle cells, also known as hyperplasia. And the DHT from the epiandro is going to do something we haven't talked about before, which I find pretty dang cool. It's going to increase our neurological drive, or our mind to muscle connection, which is going to be great anytime we're looking at compound movements like squats, deadlifts, or bench press. And as our testosterone goes up from the 1-andro and the 4-andro, yes, this will lead to fat loss, as anytime our testosterone goes up, we will shed some fat. However, it's not the main driving fat shedding prohormone. It's actually epiandro, which is responsible for oxidizing fat, aka just using fat as energy. And potentially just expect with the 4-andro that there might be an increase in your red blood cell count. Probably not enough to increase your hemoglobin where you have to give blood every 3 months, but just know the oxygen flow into your muscles is going to improve. So yeah, you should have more endurance. And as our hormones go up, bow, chicky, boing. I don't know what that was. Yes, our sexual drive will go up as well. As for the plant steroid diasterol, even though there aren't any studies and the muscle building properties are pretty much inconclusive, diasterol is going to be my favorite supporting ingredient still, because of its inhibition on 5-alpha reductase, which is an enzyme found in the liver responsible for converting testosterone over to DHT, limiting DHT, countering DHT from the epiandro, which increases DHT, And as it counters it, that hair loss, hair thinning that we typically run into with epiandro is null and void, which is pretty dang cool, am I right? Very creative. It's also got the infamous cyclosome delivery system, which is just a liposomal coating around the pill that's going to protect it from being degraded by the liver. So, yeah, some of it's going to be lost. It's a special coating around the pill that's going to protect it, at least from some of the loss. And the benefits, if I haven't driven them home enough, well, here's a review I found over on the Anabolic Minds forum. 10 years personal experience in fitness involving weightlifting. 205 pounds. Started with Superdraw for the first 4 weeks. By the middle of week 4, I switched to Monsterplexx. The transition was nice and gradual. I gained an additional 15 pounds in 3 weeks. No sides, no acne, no hair loss, minor scrotum atrophy, which returned to original size by week 2 off cycle. And his subjective feeling: happy, content, confident, extremely healthy, skin looked better, jeans fit tighter, social skills improved. He felt better about himself. Oh, and please don't run SARMs like Austrian during post-cycle or even in between cycles. This is suppressive. And the whole point of a PCT is to regain your balls back, not shut them down further. And the most exciting news. Gentlemen, we have a study. 3-beta-hydroxy-1-andro, the less resistant to estrogen 1-andro, the wetter one. Well, the Journal of Applied Physiology found that when they took a group of 9 men compared to a placebo group of 8, the 3-beta-hydroxy-1-andro, that's what the study was on. This is one of the 5 prohormones found in Monsterplexx. Over a 4-week period and 16 total workouts, muscle mass went up by 6.3%. 26% more fat was lost, and a 14.3% increase in strength. Now, I realize that this sample size is quite small and we really need more participants in order to know conclusively, but for my nerds out there, p-value of less than 0.05, meaning that it is correlated, it is statistically significant, and the results are not random. They are in fact real. My dude, I'm not here to actually sell you anything, but Monsterplexx, if you want it, 10% off, totalnutritionusing.com, code TravisD, we support local, because we like local. Back to it. So when's the best time to use it? So, since Monsterplexx contains that 1-andro and the epiandro, which are both dry, you could think about using this to cut. However, if you're going for that dry, lean, hard look, you probably ain't gonna get it. Because the 2,4-andros are going to overshadow everything because they aromatize testosterone into estrogen, giving you that wetter, bulkier look. And on top of that, that special 1-andro, the 3-beta-hydroxy one, it could potentially lead to estrogen buildup. Probably not a lot, but enough coupled with the 2,4-andros. This is a bulker. And tell me about the cycle length. And while you're at it, the dosing as well. The cycle length here should be 8 weeks, followed by a 4 to 8 week PCT using a Rimoplex. Because remember, this has 5 prohormones in here. So that standard 4-week PCT that we typically do, we might need to extend to 6, maybe even 8. Everybody's a little bit different. Now, we start with 1 pill a day, as we always do. And then we switch it to 2. Slowly, we make sure that we don't get too many sides from the first one. And then we add one on, which is going to get us to 500 milligrams a day. That's a lot. And you might need to stay there. But if you're a bigger guy and you don't have predispositions to a lot of side effects, well, you might want to go to 3. Oh, and if you really want to do this right, I get this question all the time. What ancillaries should you take? Let's rapid fire segment this. So the first is going to be fish oil, joint lubrication. We got Tudka, classic, liver support. Berberine, blood sugar. Citrus bergamot, cholesterol, and anxiety when needed. And then if fish oil is not enough joint lubrication because you're taking an epiandro or a 1-andro, something that's really dry, I go with the Extreme Joint Care. This is one of my favorite products. Now, these are going to cover a lot of the side effects, but unfortunately, it's not going to cover all of them because we're about to go into a study that shows that things can get out of hand really quickly. So, shall we take a gander? Yes, we should. The side effects. Looking back at that same study that we just spoke about, the one conducted by the Journal of Applied Physiology, we found that the 3-beta-hydroxy, that 1-andro, was extremely beneficial. However, on the other side, we found some kind of unfortunate things as well. Did you think this was all just going to be butterflies, rainbows, and positivity? My dudes, come on. These are prohormones. Very variable. Compared to the placebo group, they saw a decrease in the good cholesterol, or HDL, by 38%, and an increase in bad cholesterol, or LDL, by 32.8%. And even worse, kidney function measured by creatinine levels increased by 19.6%. And liver enzymes measured by AST on a blood test went up 113.8%. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this one sounds a little bit scary. I think I'm going to avoid this one. It's a little too toxic. Those were my thoughts too. But keep in mind, this is a little dramatic because the study, the participants were given 330 milligrams of 1-andro, one of the 5 prohormones. Again, I know I've said it a lot, but it's very important. 250 milligram anabolic blend, 5 prohormones make up 250 milligrams versus the study 330 milligrams at 1 andro. This isn't going to touch your cholesterol, creatinine, or liver enzymes. This is just simply directional. Now, it does have 2 4-andros in here, so be sure to pick up a remistane before you start your cycle, because testosterone is going to aromatize into estrogen, and if you need a remistane and you don't have it, or you know you need it, well, your blood pressure might go up. Early signs, a feeling of tightness, or for some, a red flushing color to the chest or face. Now, even though that we saw that one of the 5 prohormones in here could potentially increase bad cholesterol and decrease good cholesterol, we still want to ask the question in terms of toxicity and effects, what compounds or prohormones are similar or at least comparable? And the answer is the king of kings. We've got Superdraw. Monsterplexx is going to be a lot more mild than this. This might be a little more toxic, but this will kick in faster. Remember, this is the best. Now, if you wanted to cut with it, you looked at Monsterplexx, you said, there's 2 4-andros in there. I want to cut. I need a comparable product. Simple. We've got Helidraw. This is going to be perfect for dry lean gains. Okay, enough of that. The ultimate Monsterplexx stack, baby. Since Monsterplexx is hitting 3 angles of the androgen receptor pathway, the 1-andro, the 4-andro, and the epiandro, we've got the hypertrophy, or the building of the muscle cells, taken care of. Now we need to find something in the hyperplasia category and the GH pathway. We could look at an MK677, but that really is going to affect our ghrelin. And if we want to be hungry all the time, that is a good option. But I recommend ProIGF1, which is going to operate a little bit differently. It still might make you hungry, but this is going to help you build out more muscle cells. And the last one to tie it all together, because we talked about hypertrophy, which is the building of the existing cells, hyperplasia, the building of more cells. And now we want to funnel nutrients, funnel carbohydrates into those cells, into those muscles, so we can get the absolute most out of Monsterplexx. And the best way to do that I love, is going to be called Ancillaries. Now, if you're worried about that 1-andro, the 3-beta-hydroxy 1-andro, you might want to take a look at Helidraw instead, because it has a safer 1-andro and a 4-andro. And if you want to stack something else on top of that with the Helidraw to get similar effects, you can toss in dimethazine, which that video is right here. My dudes, I love you. Until next week, we packed it tight in today. Remember, timestamps below. Until next week, stay safe and stay swole, my brothers.